Ain't got no.
What my coach say?
Ain't got no.
He says you're not getting any produce. No farm,
greens, beans.
no farm fresh produce from IAG.
Ain't got no greens, beans.
Is that a shot?
Potatoes.
I thought he said they were going to have some type of garden. They were going to have a garden behind that mini barn, behind that pigsty / pig pen. They're going to have some kind of garden. So no produce, no farm. You guys hear that? You Goonie, Tim followers, you heavy Tim worshipers, you woeful Tim donors. You guys hear that? No farm fresh produce. Not from him. What did he say? He said they looked it up after the fact, after they promised to distribute farm fresh food, not just farm fresh meat, but after they promised to deliver farm fresh food to people in the neighborhood, in the area, in the city, in the state, in the country, in the world, in the universe. After they promised to deliver it, I guess they've gone back, they did a little bit of research, and they've indicated that they are going to be a pastoral. They're going to be a pastoral farm. And I know, unfortunately, I noticed that my coach, Tim, y'all's pastor, he got choked up a little bit when he was using that pastoral term. And I wonder why. Why did it choke him up a little bit? Why did it choke him up a little bit? Maybe because he hasn't been pastoral in any fashion for at least the past 2 to 3 years. But they're going to be a pastoral farm, meaning that they're going to raise meat. They're not going to raise any produce. And so for you ready Tim riders, there'll be no beans for you guys. There'll be no greens for you guys. No tomatoes, no potatoes, no yams, no cabbage. Sorry, guys. Meat only, strictly the meat. Okay? If you want to support your pastor and my coach, sign up, get yourself signed up for some of that farm meat. I can't call it farm fresh because we don't know exactly how it's going to be raised. We do understand that the boys are going to have to put in some overtime. We do understand that Megan is going to have to hurry up. She's going to have to rush through her rehabilitation. She's going to have to rush. She's going to have to accelerate her recuperation and her recovery because I'm not sure who's going to raise up these animals. We know for sure it's not going to be my coach. It will not be my coach, Tim. But I guess in this video, he's putting together, because they've identified themselves as being a pastoral farm. I guess in this video, he's going to go about putting together a rabbit coop or chicken hutch or something. His specialty. Some random enclosure. He's going to go about constructing that so that they can raise up this meat. And I guess one of the meats that they're going to raise up is turkey. And Megan, she was honest enough to share with us that they don't have any experience with the turkey. And so they ordered enough turkey, considering the fact that some of those turkey will not make it. They will not fulfill their destiny. As my coach Tim calls it, they will not make it to the table. They will not make it to Tim's belly. And so I guess I assume she ordered enough extra turkey so that they could experiment. Heaven forbid they should do some real research. Heaven forbid that they should go and consult neighbors, other neighborhood farms in the area, and ask any of those neighbors whether they have certain experience with raising turkey. And heaven forbid that they would have a chance of doing it the right way. But in the meantime, it'll be trial and error. Okay? It'll be trial and error on that farm meat. But no farm produce for you guys. No farm produce. But all right. Before I get to my reaction to the recent IAG Farms video about building a chicken, what is it, a booner? Chicken booner? Hold on a second. What was it? Chicken?
Greens, beans, tomatoes, potatoes, yams, rams.
Booner?
Greens, beans, tomatoes, potatoes, yams, rams, lambs. Greens, beans, tomatoes, potatoes, yams, rams, lambs.
Brooder, Goonies. It was a chicken brooder. Before I get to my reaction to that video, the IAG video about the chicken brooder. Chicken coffin, by the way, but we'll get to that shortly. But I do have to recognize you guys that have been active in the comments. Keep that dialogue flowing. Keep that commentary going both ways. Special recognition to you heavy Tim followers. I hear you guys. I see you guys in the comments. I see what you guys are saying. It's not going unnoticed. I hear what you guys are saying. You're saying, Captain. Some captain you are. And you're like, if you were truly a captain, you would not have stood idle and let your coach Tim trespass on that property. As captain, certainly you saw previous videos of him out there with the bad boys, out here doing demolition on that cabin on the neighbor's property. If you were the captain, you should have stood up sooner and said something. You should have pulled your coach to the side and said, hold on, we don't go about demolishing our neighbor's property. Not only do we not covet, when we talk about Bible scripture, not only do we not covet our neighbor's property, we definitely don't go in and start demolishing it. We don't go in and start the task we don't start the process of trying to redesign our neighbor's property, our neighbor's cabin. We don't rename our neighbor's property as being some resurrection ranch. And we don't go in and start naming the rooms as being the resurrection room when it doesn't belong to us. And certainly we don't go and start putting scripture or any types of random writings up on the walls in our neighbor's property. And if you were the captain, you would have stopped Tim short of that. If you were the captain, you would have given some type of reaction to that video where Tim was talking about the 100-year-old homestead. Okay? If you were the captain, you would have intervened. You would have reminded Tim not to trespass. You would have reminded him not to enter. Not to break and enter, certainly, but not to enter your neighbor's property. You should have reminded him. Certainly, you should have reminded him not to degrade, not to berate, not to diminish, not to belittle the efforts of those that came before them, if you were the captain. And certainly, if you were truly the captain, you would have reminded your coach Tim that they were not supposed to go on to their neighbor's property and actually steal some items. Okay? By their own admission, apparently they decided that it was reasonable for them to steal that picture of the Last Supper. And for one reason or another, they were proud of their apparent theft. If you were the captain, you would have stopped them short. You would have said, hold on, Tim. If you're going to make a video, certainly only do a video about your own property, Tim. Okay? Don't go on to your neighbor's property. Don't break and enter. Don't talk negatively about your neighbor's vision just because their vision does not match up with your vision. Okay? Just because their vision is not based on deception and domination. Domination. Just because their vision doesn't involve them trying to dominate even their own neighbor's property does not mean that they don't have vision. And so, coach you are. You should have intervened a lot sooner. And I'm like, okay, guys, I hear you guys, but you guys be wilding in the comments. You guys be wilding. And while you're wilding, I'm going to keep on digressing. Welcome back to the end game, where today I'm going to provide my reaction to the recent IAG Farms video about Tim building a rabbit brooder or a turkey a duck brooder. I guess he's going to build up a duck brooder or a squirrel brooder, some type of brooder. He's going to build that up. So I'm going to provide my reaction. Oh my goodness. I'm going to provide my reaction to that video here. Early in the video, we see Tim, my coach Tim, rushing in to interrupt the homeschooling. Considering that it's scripted, I'm sure he told them that he was coming. He said, I'm going to come in. I'm going to disrupt you guys. Don't start learning yet because I'm just going to come in and disrupt it. I'm going to come in and shake it up and talk about some nonsense for the sake of this filming. And of course, we noticed that Megan she still has on her apron from her kitchen duties. We're reminded that she was in the kitchen making some fresh homemade biscuits in order to go along with that sausage, that yummy sausage that some of you heavy Tim Riders probably requested that he shipped to you. But we see Megan with her apron on. She's getting ready to start up her homeschooling. Little Benjamin is noticeably absent. I'm not sure. I'm assuming he was off in the playpen somewhere, but he was noticeably absent from the homeschool this particular day. And Tim was mindful enough to remind us, and was really for you woeful Tim worshipers. He was mindful just to remind you guys that Megan wears many hats. She wears the most hats in the house. And even with all of her duties with making breakfast and nursing and schooling and cleaning the kitchen, even with her duties there and handling the business affairs and the financial affairs and the banking affairs and making the phone calls and doing the negotiation, even with all her current duties, somehow Tim sees fit to add yet another duty to her plate. And that's the duty of managing this brooder, managing these 70 plus or 100 plus fowl of chickens and ducks and whatnot that she's ordered. Somehow he's seen it appropriate to add yet another task to her plate. I'm like, okay, Tim, the plate is only but so big, Coach. It's only but so big. Her plate's been full for months. Her plate's been full. If it were to be added onto anybody's plate, clearly, Coach, your plate has plenty of room. Up to this point, all we have are some small projects that you tackle from time to time. Up until now, all we have is some editing that you perform in the wee hours of the night or the morning. And so as such, if we try to compare Megan's plate to your plate, and we're adding on extra tasks of raising these babies and these minis and all this fowl, certainly, Coach, your plate should be the one that's being added on to. Certainly, Coach.
You still got your kitchen apron on.
Yeah.
We had some good biscuits and sausage and biscuits this morning.
Delicious sausage, y'all.
From the farm.
Tim smoked from our farm. And so I made some biscuits. So just simple breakfast sausage and biscuits.
And now y'all getting ready to get started with homeschool, right?
I'll transition to homeschool now. And so I haven't fully finished in the kitchen, but I'm going to set everybody up and do my cleaning and coming back and forth. And so, yeah.
So y'all.
And so I haven't fully finished in the kitchen, but I'm going to set everybody up and do my cleaning and coming back and forth. And so, yeah.
So y'all.
Shortly after, Tim makes a point of it. He intentionally makes a point of telling those folks that were not already aware, he makes a point of saying, okay, he tries not to interrupt the boys' education, even though the boys eagerly want to participate in this vocational field work. He says, well, we try to save the vocational activities for Thursdays and Fridays. Okay. Or at least we try to save it for times when they're not on camera. But he talks about how we try not to disrupt it. And so he says that Thursdays and Fridays are the days for the boys to do their vocational work. And of course, us observant viewers, we're like, hold on now, that would mean that they're only getting schooling 3 out of the 5 days. And how in the world do some boys that have obvious deficiencies, how do they have a day to spare during their educational work week, let alone 2 days? How do they have 2 days to spare? Okay. Megan reminded you that they get vocational work when they're doing their farm chores. That's vocational. She reminded you of that. And so how in the world do these boys have any time to spare away from their education in order to do this mythical vocational field work, these mythical vocational field trips? How do they have the time for it? Okay. Clearly they're doing catch up. Clearly they should be in catch up mode. Okay. Clearly they should be working. Timothy Jr. should be working to get himself up to grade level. Okay. I'm not sure what the requirements are in your state, but clearly he should be working to get himself up to grade level. Titus may be the one that is at grade level. Clearly little Noah has some work to do. And then we got Benjamin, baby Benjamin, that's going to be bringing up the rear. His education has already started, whether it's formalized or not, it's already started. But how in the world can those boys spare any time? They don't really have any time to spare, Coach.
I had fun today in homeschool. The boys were actually trying to come out and do vocational homeschool. Once they figured out I was going to be doing some carpentry and framing up the brooder and all that. And they've already went out and did their farm chores today already. And they were like, can we come out and do vocational homeschool today? And Mama was like, nope. No. We got classroom today. It's Tuesday. We usually don't do vocational homeschool till like a Thursday or Friday. So we make sure we get it in the classroom. And it's amazing IAG Jesus Field classroom. And we get it in here. And then we can have a little bit of fun with vocational homeschool towards the end of the week.
That's right. And they get a little bit of it in the mornings because they do farm chores. And then, by 2, when they're done with homeschool, they'll be running around and looking at the brooders and maybe helping to clean up and assisting that way.
That's right. All right, y'all. Y'all have fun today in homeschool. Have fun, Mama, with biscuits and sausage and cleaning the kitchen and doing homeschool and taking care of your youngest baby and all the other stuff you do.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to have fun building the brooder. I'm excited to see what you come up.
A bit later in the video, my coach Tim and y'all's pastor Tim, he talks about what a shame. He says, what a shame it is that I have to hire my 70-year-old mama. And we're like, true. Okay, all right. Well, you're starting to come clean with us. A little bit of honesty. Yes, it is shameful. But of course, in short order, Tim places the blame on the workers, the foreign workers, okay, the non-family workers that he can't count on, that he can't depend upon, that he can't find, he can't locate, okay? So he says, it's a shame that I have to hire my 70-year-old mama to do this work. It's so hard to find skilled laborers. And he's like, wouldn't it be great if I could find a 20 or 24-year-old laborer that wanted to put in some work? And of course, you know who came to mind for me. Immediately when he said that, I thought of Travion, nephew Travion, grandson Travion. Okay, not to mention other grandchildren that are out there. Okay, we won't even speak on the uncles, but how hard would it be for you to solicit one of your own nephews, even a niece? They could do that type of work, of course. But you say, well, we can't find any good laborers out there, so I have to continue to break my mama's back. It's not enough for me to break it out at Resurrection Ranch. I got to break her back over here too. He talks about the fact that he let it out that he was looking to hire someone. All right. Of course, we observers, we know that you're not hiring anybody to come up into that IAG area. You're not looking at, especially for some menial work, some redundant work, such as caulking nail holes on a shack. Okay. And so the fact that you're talking about hiring somebody, you had to resort to hiring your grandmother. It's like, okay, coach, spin it however you want to, coach. You talked about how it's difficult for you to find folks that have character. And you reference Cook and the boys that hauled away that trash for you. You reference Cook and his crew that followed the directions that you gave them. Okay. They followed the directions of eliminating the trash, removing the trash by any means necessary. They followed the directions, coach. But all of a sudden they didn't have any character. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe we should cut my coach a little bit of slack here as far as his his efficiencies, his weaknesses with picking folks of character. We have to remember that during my coach's formative years, he was incarcerated. It's no secret. It's not an insult. He was incarcerated. During his formative years, he was incarcerated. And so he learned character from his prison mates, his cellmate. Okay, that's where he learned what character was about. Okay, certainly at some point he picked up the Bible. Okay, but once he put the Bible down and he walked out into his community of other prisoners, that's where he learned what character supposedly was all about. And of course, there's a different code. There's a different character code behind the bars. There's a different character code. And so, Coach, we understand why you failed repeatedly when it comes to choosing people of character. We understand why you failed to successfully hire contractors long term. It's because when you hire those contractors, they're not going to fit your standard, your preconceived standard for character. Okay? When you hire them, we know that ultimately they're going to get fired because they don't fit your standard of character. And if they don't get fired, we know they're getting snitched on or they're getting fired and snitched on. But we understand, Coach, your definition of character would not correlate to what character means out here in the rest of civilization. We understand you got your education. We understand that you were raised, okay, based upon what you said about your mama and what you said about your daddy not being there and not doing certain things and raising you up. We can draw one conclusion, and that, of course, is the fact that you were raised up in prison. And so clearly your definition of character does not match the rest of the civilized world, Coach. But we get it. We get it.
In 2 days, it probably would have took me 2 weeks to get this done, but Grandma has been focused. And how has this project been so far for you?
It's been great. I had a real good trainer teaching me how to caulk, and I think he had a purpose in mind, y'all. But I don't mind at all, not at all.
That's right.
I'd rather caulk than paint, and he'd rather paint than caulk.
That's right.
So it works out just well.
That's good. That's good.
But it's good to see you all down here on the IAG Farms.
That's right.
It's been a minute. So after I finish here, it's back to Resurrection Ranch.
That's right. Yeah. And Grandma, she Lord willing, she'll be down here to help us out on a few projects here and there. And I talked about it with Grandma yesterday. I said, it's really sad, and I told Grandma, I said, no offense, but it's really sad that when I have a job like this to do, that I have to find my 70-year-old, my mom says she's actually 69, but I say 70, the 70-year-old sound better. I gotta get my 70-year-old mama to come and do a job like this. I can't find like a young 24-year-old, 30-year-old whippersnapper that can come out here and do this job and do a good job. Because I have standards, you know what I'm saying, on the quality of work that I want. Y'all know we had that situation where we had some trash hauled away, and instead of taking the trash to the dump like we paid the guys to do, they dumped it on the side of the road. So it's like, it's situations like that where it's like you can't find good, reliable workers nowadays, skilled laborers nowadays. And it's just a shame that I have to get my 70-year-old mama to come out here and caulk. But the beautiful thing is that she's enjoying it.
Later in the video, we get excited. Us viewers, we get excited because we finally get to see Tim use that cattle hauler. Yeah, we got to see him use it for those 3 little piglets that he could have put in the back of his excursion. But we saw him use that oversized cattle hauler, and we were excited. Okay. And now, of course, when he opened up the cattle hauler, we saw that it contained merely some hay and some wood chips and some lumber. And we're like, hold on, Coach. Isn't that what a traditional pull-behind trailer should be used for? And oh, by the way, don't you already have like a brand new trailer on your property? Why would you have to use a cattle hauler to pull lumber and farming supplies, Coach? Okay, I understand. I get it, Coach. Okay. Give someone the impression of the fact that that hauler is being put to good use. Give someone the impression that it was a worthwhile expense. Okay, Coach, we get it. But holy moly, no animals in tote, just lumber in that shiny new Cattle hauler.
So I'm gonna bring y'all into the barn. I actually have a bunch of material on the cattle hauler that we got to get unloaded today. I got a bunch of feed. I got some straw, not straw, but shavings for the chickens when they come, the poultry when it comes. Got some 2x4s for the project we're gonna do today. And then we also got a little bit of hay because we're starting to run out, and we were glad to get rid of all this old hay over here because we think that was part of the reason why we had fleas this year, was because of this hay. We think those fleas came from that hay. And so we're gonna get that unloaded sometime today once the boys get done homeschool. We're gonna get that unloaded sometime today once the boys get done homeschool.
Later in the video, they talk about raising up these baby turkeys. They acknowledge that this is their first time with the baby turkeys. And there's, of course, going to be some trial and error. And I'm like, okay, well, them purchasing that fowl really is a death sentence. So it's appropriate that that chicken brooder looks like a coffin. That oversized chicken brooder looks like a coffin. And I know what you're saying. Oh, no, it doesn't look like a coffin. It looks more like a death trap. All right. It's appropriate. It's a death sentence. Okay. And so you talked about how the meat, the farm fresh meat, eventually goes to slaughter or goes to the butcher, goes to freezer camp because it's fulfilling its calling. And so, unfortunately, much of the fowl that goes into that brooder will not be coming out alive. Much of it won't be coming out alive. And so it's, as they say, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Get up in that coffin. Okay. You can add heat lamps to it. You can add the chips to it. You can put in the little watering deal in the feeding bowl, but it's a bona fide coffin. It's ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Okay. So turkey and other fowl, you guys better already start plotting. The minute you hit those farm gates, you better start plotting your escape because you're not going to fulfill that calling. Well, most of you guys will not fulfill that calling. And I'm talking about the calling of getting up in my coach's belly. Okay. Plan it out now. How are you guys going to escape? Is escape or die?
I told him, I said, I looked for both of the ladies, and neither one of them were available. So me and the subscribers, me and them made the decision. So y'all can't get mad at us.
What y'all got going on?
Exactly.
I'm gonna blame you that
Yeah. All right, so just imagine you got some ducks and chickens off in there. You need to grab a water out of there.
Okay, so kind of explain to me what your intents are with the front.
I'm gonna put OSB.
OSB.
Yeah, plywood, and then it's gonna be a lid on top. But so you're gonna lift the lid, then you're gonna reach off in there. So reach in there and see if you can. We'll be able to grab a water.
It will be nothing for me.
Oh yeah, okay.
Nothing for me to do. And Tim got to the height now. He almost tall as I am.
Good. So you can almost touch the floor, huh?
Oh yeah, I can.
Oh yeah, perfect. No, so pretty much it is where your waist is at, from what I saw.
Yeah.
Cause we didn't want it to like get off in your armpit, you know what I'm saying, like and restrict you.
Yeah.
So that was the goal.
You can still lean over.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's at waist height, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
Looks good.
Good. So we don't have to play the blame card and blame you and Megan for not being out here.
No.
We don't have to play the blame card and blame you and Megan for not being out here.
No.
A little bit later in the video, Tim reminds us that although he constantly, I shouldn't say constantly, from time to time, when he's not sifting through the comments on these reaction channels, when he's not in there donning one of his burner Tim identities, being all up in the reaction channel comments, leaving negative feedback and negative commentary. Some of it being foul. It's actually, some of it is foul commentary coming from a supposed pastor. But when he's not up in the comments, what he says is he tries to seek out Megan's opinion. Okay, just like he tried to seek out her opinion on the size of that coffin of a chicken brooder. He's tried to seek out her opinion in other areas, I guess. I mean, once he's made up his mind, then he seeks out Megan's opinion. But he says, well, I value her opinion. And so now when they're talking about that brooder and Megan is pretending to be excited about the brooder and the various features on that death trap, Megan offers her opinion. She offers her opinion about, well, we should put down some plastic or we should put down some linoleum on the floor so that we can save the floor so it's not ruined by all this rabbit and chicken and duck and turkey poop and pee and whatnot. And Tim, being who he is, he ignores it. He outright ignores her opinion. He outright ignores her input. And he's like, hold on now. Megan, you speak when you're spoken to. When I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. Okay? Half the time when I want your opinion, I'll give it to you, Megan. And the other half of the time, I'll ask for it. Did I ask you for your opinion, Megan? That's my coach for you guys.
I took up a whole corner of your barn.
That's okay.
Put the other stuff in.
That's all right.
We're going to have plenty of chickens. And I told him, I said, this will work like we had like a bottle lamb they want to warm up under the
incubator. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Or baby pig,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But chickens, ducks, I told them rabbits in the off season.
Look at you.
Yeah.
This is so amazing. The other thing, I was actually thinking about getting like a piece of linoleum or plastic and kind of putting it down as a base to save the flooring underneath it. The other thing, I was actually thinking about getting like a piece of linoleum or plastic and kind of putting it down as a base to save the flooring underneath it.
And oh, by the way, why in the world is Noah and Titus, why are they dressed alike? But yet Tim Sr. is dressed differently. And I'm like, okay, now wait a minute. So clearly those are donations, okay, from some of the heavy Tim followers. Clearly they're donations. But I'm like, well, did they not send the proper size for Tim Sr.? Why is it that only two of the boys are dressed alike? Well, now, actually, none of the boys should be dressed alike, considering that they're not twins. They're not twins, coach. They're not twins. But I'm like, wait a minute. Two dressed alike, one dressed separately. Is that some form of compound? Because Tim referred to his farm being a compound. But is that some type of compound thinking where if you're punished, you got to dress alike, or if you're being punished, you don't get to dress like the others? And it's like, okay, what are we missing here, coach? What are you not sharing with us? Okay. Are you trying to tell us that Titus woke up in the morning and said, I want to wear this shirt and those shorts? And Noah woke up in the morning and he said, well, I want to wear those shorts and that shirt. And coincidentally, they wound up with the same outfit, coach? How and why in the world, coach? Why in the world? But all right. That's it for my reaction to that recent IAG Farms video where Tim is talking about building a rabbit brooder, turkey, duck, hutch/brooder. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Chop it up in the comments. Burner Tim in the heavies. I expect to see you guys clear and present. I want to shoot out some love to my current subscribers. Thank you for showing me that love. Thank you. For those viewers that have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing so that we can continue to shine that light. Until next time.